Welcome, beautiful pile 3, to your reading. We are going to start with our energy oracle card. I haven't flipped it over yet, even though I'm recording on a different day than the previous two groups in the introduction. I just set this card aside and kept it face down. So let's see what we have here. Magician and the Mirror, number 53. I do have to laugh a little myself just at this very Dumbledore Gandalf-ish figure. Especially I'm reminded of the Mirror of Erised from Harry Potter in the background there. We have the fire element, the air and water, kind of fire and ice elements, and we have the infinity symbol, just like the Magician card in the tarot. Let's see what the description in the Energy Oracle Guidebook has to tell us about this card and its message. And if you haven't listened to the intro, I do recommend doing that for the collective message in the intro. But for number 53, the key words are knowing and using your true power. Love that. It says, this card upright represents the culmination of your personal and spiritual power at this time. In the Magician's left hand is the flame of passion and action. In his right hand is a vortex of water and the light of reflection. This highly beneficial card is telling you that you are the Magician, and within your grasp are the amazing forces of earth and spirit. The water is the energy of yin, the power of spirit and clarity of thought. The flame is the energy of yang, bringing direction and creativity. Together they give you the magnificent magic of transformation. The mirror stands beside the Magician, reflecting the outer world's response to your choice to use, or dismiss, the true power that you have. Its silver reflection reveals the future in a mist on the horizon, ready to be magically formed. When you receive the Magician upright, you are put on notice that an important and powerful time is at hand. You are the alchemist of your life, and just as an alchemist turns base metals into gold, you are now able to transform your difficulties into great blessings. This is true in every area of your life. Claim your power and embrace your intentions in your heart and in your daily life. Direct your destiny, and the mists of the future will clear into brilliant reality. All right. I'm feeling called to move directly into the tarot here. We have the Unfolding Path Tarot that we're going to start with today. I'm going to shuffle here. There's an interesting similarity, but also difference between the message from the Magician and the Mirror card and the theme of group 2. So it would be interesting if any of you were also called or drawn to group 2 as well, because there is the message, the theme of group 2 was all about stepping into your personal power in a warrior and leadership aspect, in a very third chakra, solar plexus chakra type of way. And this is definitely also about stepping into personal power and your power to influence the world around you and shape your own future, direct your own destiny. But there is a more almost spiritual or mental aspect or focus or lens for this type of power that this reading is speaking of. So let's get some more specific messages, dive deeper, get clearer. Okay, I'm being told to just start with these two and then go from there. We have the Five of Swords and the Two of Swords. This is fascinating. The Two of Swords has this blindfold on in this card, and it is not uncommon for the Two of Swords to be depicted with the swords crossed like this, for the swords to, in that manner, represent the fact that the path before you is obscured from your vision in some way, that there's something unseen coming in, or some things that you do not know yet about the journey before you. The Five of Swords is a card of mental conflict, and often that can be about conflict with others, and kind of a lose-lose conflict where even the winner doesn't really feel like they've won anything. I'm getting a really strong energy also from this card, even though that message may also apply to you. I'm getting a really strong message of internal conflict, mental conflict, which is also lose-lose because you are fighting with yourself. There's a message that the energy that you are walking away from, like the figure in this card, is that of, I'm hearing useless or fruitless conflict with yourself. I'm getting the energy of these nattering thoughts that feel like voices in the head that kind of yammer and hammer away at each other. But for what end? And there's a sense that you're coming to a realization now, if you haven't already. You may have already, but you're about to if you haven't. Come to a realization, like, for what? There's these parts of me that are fighting with each other, but they don't even have a sense of what they're fighting for. And that realization causes you to put down the swords and walk away. When both or all parts of you involved in a mental conflict like that genuinely realize, like, there's nothing to gain here. There's nothing to gain from battling with each other like this. It causes this genuine surrender, this genuine end to the battle. I also want to see what this specific deck suggests for the Two of Swords message, to see if it gives us any additional clarity. It gives us the keywords indecision, uncertainty, impasse, or avoidance, and says you face a difficult choice. Neither path is obviously better or worse than the other, leaving you confused and conflicted. This card might also indicate that you are making a decision blindly, and you need to gain more clarity before choosing. Are you missing an important piece of information? This might also be a sign that you are avoiding the truth. Pretending the issue at hand does not exist will not make it go away, and it may become worse if you ignore it. Remember, not choosing is in itself a choice. So I think between the energy emanating from the Five of Swords and the message from the guidebook about the Two of Swords, we are getting a very strong sense and a very clear picture of what situation you've been in, internally and possibly also externally, where you're being called to step into your personal power to alchemize the situation, as per the message from the Magician in the Mirror. So I think it's time for us to get a little more guidance about how to do that. So I'm going to pull some more tarot from the Unfolding Path deck to get more guidance about how you are going to do that, how you can best do that, what your next best steps are. Please, Spirit Guides, give us some guidance on that. I do want to mention also that with the Five of Swords having come out first and the Two of Swords next to it, after it, there is also a sense here of there being a certain clarity, peace, and stillness that has already arisen from this dark night of the soul, dark conflict. This person is battered and bruised. It's almost like this person has emerged unscathed and had a chance to repair a little bit or brush off the dirt from that conflict, but still doesn't know where they're going yet. So let's see what guidance we have for the next steps after that. Okay. Again, I'm being drawn to just start with two more. Oh, wow. We have the Queen of Cups here. Gorgeous. And the Lovers. Wow. Okay. So the Lovers is also a card about making choices often and about having multiple choices. There's a real sense of like richness, grounding in richness and fertility, and a sense of abundance from both of these cards. And it's a sense of like vibrant vitality. earthy emotional abundance, and there being a whole rainbow of vibrant options, vibrant life force enhancing and enriching options before you in your life at this time. It feels, I'm getting this strong energy of a reminder to you of the ground beneath your feet, and that ground being rich soil that can nourish your roots. And with the cups being emotional energy, and with the lovers being an interpersonal card as well as a card of decisions and choices, I do think for some of you that rich soil to root down in may be the connections both within you and around you. But I do feel there's more for us to dig into here and clarify it as well. I want to get this deck's specific slant on the lovers first of all. The lovers is the number 6 in the tarot, and there's a lot of Venus energy there, which I think we can also see very much on display in this Queen of Cups image. I really love the sense of regal repose in this Queen of Cups. There's almost a come at me, bro energy with that, of like, you really think you can shake me? Go ahead and try it, which is a really great contrast with the deeply shaken by mental conflict and by uncertainty and deeply ungrounded energy from the 5 of Swords and the 2 of Swords. There is a sense of this like emotional nourishment and grounding, giving your mind the safety and security to no longer feel unrest. Alright, so the lovers' keywords are love, relationships, choices, duality, union, commitment, desire, and aligned values. The duality definitely goes along with this 2 of Swords as well. And it says 2 hearts beat a little faster as there is something new and exciting on the horizon. The Lover's card represents a true and loving relationship and a deep connection. This card can speak of both a romantic relationship or a lasting friendship. The most beautiful relationships succeed because both parties make the commitment every day to choose the path of loving with an open heart and resisting harshness and easy irritation. The most beautiful love affair is the one you have with yourself. Nurture self-love with as much care as you do romantic love. So nurturing yourself with self-love as a solution to the depletion from mental conflict that we got from the 5 of Swords definitely makes sense. And resisting harshness and easy irritations so that you can choose the path of loving with an open heart is also a really significant and powerful antidote to mental conflict internally and externally. Choosing the path of, actually, I'd like to understand these parts of me that I've been fighting with and resisting. I'd like to seek that understanding and build a loving, nurturing relationship so that these different parts of me, I can support them and they can support each other. And that internal ecosystem can become the fertile ground that I root myself into, where I feel fully nourished. And I do think it's worth posing yourself the question and pondering on, what does make me feel nourished? What does cause me to feel a sense of being rooted into the ground below me in the present moment? What causes me to feel like, what actions can I take? What situations can I put myself in that cause me to feel like I have stable ground underneath me and at my back? What connections make me feel like someone has my back so that I can relax into my seat, my throne, like this Queen of Cups has? I definitely think with the cups and this particular deck's interpretation on the lovers, there is some potential for the relationships in your life that has not fully been tapped into yet. For some of you, with the unseen from the 2 of Swords and the new opportunities mentioned in this Lovers card, there may actually be a new relationship on its way in, or that already exists, but is kind of in this seed or seedling stage where you aren't necessarily sure of it yet. And there's a message to, when something new comes in, or if something new has already come in, give it a fighting chance by approaching it with that open heart and giving it nurturing, rather than allowing rumination and overthinking about the possible dangers to undermine it, and allowing internal conflict about, can I trust this? Am I being too trusting? Is this really good for me? Do I know what I'm doing? Do I really want this? Those types of thoughts can potentially undermine you actually developing a true awareness of what the relationship in front of you actually is like in reality, so that you can make a true and fair and clear assessment of what this relationship or this situation in a workplace or a different situation in your life actually is like. You want to be able to assess and act upon that accurately, rather than based on overthinking and fears based on past experiences. And in order to do that, that's going to involve some grounding and calming yourself, soothing your nervous system, so that you can take a deep breath and examine what's before you without tunnel vision and without clouds obscuring it. And it's also going to involve some integration of the parts of you that have these knee-jerk reactions of, oh, I want to go closer, or I want to run away. And listening to those parts of yourself so that you understand why they're having those reactions, and so that you can caretake them appropriately based on that understanding. And from that caretaking, you can act in a way that is appropriate for yourself and loving for yourself. I do also want to just check out this specific deck's description of the Queen of Cups. I really love seeing different artists and writers' interpretations of this symbolism that's such a part of our culture. It says, intuition, emotion, compassion, and nurturing. The intuitive and empathetic Queen of Cups has natural psychic abilities which help her easily sense the needs of others. This ability to truly understand others and to engage with them in a nurturing and compassionate way means many are drawn to her and her wisdom. Her guidance and advice deals with sensitive topics, and her insights and wise counsel provide the right solutions. She is mindful not to take on the energetic burdens of those she cares so deeply for. Listen to your heart and be gentle with yourself and others. That last sentence is a great summation of these messages. Listen to your heart and be gentle with yourself and others. And I'm getting this energy of a two-way flow from this message. We have the message that we've been talking about, where it's like, okay, nourish yourself so that you can hear your guidance clearly as the noise of mental conflict subsides. And the other direction of the flow is receive that guidance. Trust your intuition. I'm glad that I read this, because it reminded me that part of the message here is, in addition to being nurturing and compassionate to yourself, to actually listen to and trust the messages from your emotions and the messages from your intuition. And by being nurturing and compassionate to yourself, you can give yourself what you need to feel that trust and not overthink those messages, to have the clarity of mind from that self-love and nurturing and soothing of your nervous system, so that there is ease and peace in discerning what are messages from your intuition and from your emotions, as opposed to fearful overthinking. That becomes very clear when you really give yourself space and the nourishment that you need to unpack the thoughts, feel into them, and discover the different textures, those different wavelengths on the rainbow of energies available to you start to untangle from there. I'm going to draw a couple more tarot cards. One more, Spirit, one more for guidance for group 3 on the path before them at this time in their life, at this time in our collective world. Okay, I asked for one more, but then another one started to jump out at me, and then it came back into the deck. Do we want one more? I'm getting one more. Okay. So the one more that we're getting is the High Priestess, which was at the back of the deck after I shuffled. Love that. In conjunction with the rest of this reading. And we have the King of Pentacles and the Judgment. For some of you, this series right here of the Queen of Cups, the Lovers, and the King of Pentacles is very much representing a romantic relationship that is dawning in your life, coming into your life. A romantic relationship that has a balanced flow between the divine feminine and the divine masculine, with the Queen and King here. And the Judgment card represents, just like the scales, a balance as well. Someone who is your equal match. And I am still getting this strong feeling as these other messages come out, even though they are definitely messages of reassurance. I am getting this strong feeling of there's going to be not obstacles, not hurdles at the beginning, but just this initial feeling of, can I trust this? This initial almost like gasp of, can I really believe that this might be coming into my life? Can I really believe that this person might be what they say they are? The High Priestess is definitely affirming what we got from the Queen of Cups about trust your intuition. If someone comes into your life where, you know, their actions aren't matching their words, they are genuinely giving red flags, don't force it to fit. Don't trust someone who has not earned that trust. And definitely do not try to rush trust with anyone. The other side of the same token that we got about give this a fighting chance, nurture it, approach it with an open heart and an open mind rather than dismissing, fighting, or running away from it. The other side of that same token is also don't rush yourself or throw yourself blindly into anything. We got that don't throw yourself blindly into a choice with the Two of Swords here. Give yourself the slow approach that you need to feel like you are protecting yourself and safeguarding yourself as you enter these waters. It's like, yeah, go ahead and put on the life vest before you get on the boat. Go ahead and make sure that you have the map and the supplies and the rations in case of emergency, and make sure that the person you're with is qualified to navigate or to steer or whatever role they're taking on this boat. Take all those measures, but do them with this attitude of taking things slow and steady and nurturing yourself and giving the relationship a fighting chance, rather than with the attitude of seeking to poke holes with your swords in everything that comes your way and comes up. And I hope that makes sense. It's about responding appropriately to the situations that arise by being able to assess them. Take your time before committing to anything. Take your time and take your space to create clarity around what you are seeing unfolding before you, and respond accordingly and appropriately. I am going to, for more messages than we've already gotten from the High Priestess and the Judgment, so that we can unpack and dive deeper, also see what the guidebook for this deck has to say about those cards. Actually, I'm feeling guided to start with the King of Pentacles. This King of Pentacles really highlights the Taurus energy of earthy abundance with this bull symbol. So for some of you, it may be a Taurus coming into your life, or you may be the Taurus in this situation. For some of you, for some people, it feels that for some people there's a stigma around part of the exchange in a relationship being, I am providing nurturing and caretaking, and this person is providing material stability and abundance in that manner. And together we are nurturing each other and creating a balanced and beautiful life. There's nothing wrong with that dynamic in a relationship. For some people, there is like this stigma around it appearing to play into traditional gender roles. But there's actually nothing wrong with leaning into that type of mutual support. The important thing is that both or all parties in any relationship are consciously signing up for what they are offering and receiving in that relationship. And as long as that works for you and your partner or partners, there is a message here for a few of you who might need to hear it. Don't worry about what anyone else says. And this is going along with the message about pause and assess before you commit to someone, but also don't be afraid to move forward when all you're seeing is green flags and what you have taken your time and given it some time and space so that this person has actually proven they are what they started out to be. So it's like, yeah, don't sign on the dotted line before you've given it some time and read all the fine print. But also don't listen to naysayers who are like, oh, don't move in with that person. Don't let them support you financially. Don't trust anyone like that. You know, there definitely are people out there who will use someone's dependence on them financially to control them. But there is a strong message that for some of you, you are happening upon a situation where that is actually not the case, and you can trust this person. But always to use your own discernment and to remember that trust is something that is built and earned over time, not something that you can discern right away. So you have to give it a fighting chance. And you, at the same time, shouldn't rush into it right away. I know I'm repeating myself a little, but I just wanted to make sure that the way that message applies to that specific situation, because that specific message did want to come through, was clear. So with the King of Pentacles, the key words in this guidebook are leadership, protection, provision, and discipline. The King of Pentacles is the symbol of great worldly success. He is ambitious, confident, and has built a financially lucrative empire. This industrious man achieved his success through honest, hard work. With self-discipline and careful control, he managed his growing wealth, investing wisely and building a strong, stable life for his family. With his fair and ethical business practices, his staff and colleagues view him as a great leader and approach him for his reliable wisdom and guidance. Now is the time for the well-planned, tried and true path, not the experimental unknown. So yes, that last sentence affirms what we've been saying about you might feel like you're venturing into the unknown, but as long as you take the steps to test your path as you go along the way, and it will become your tried and true path. And the description of the King of Pentacles figure was a great reminder of things to look for as green flags, and what you will not find if you're facing someone who's actually full of red flags and shouldn't be trusted. Those keywords of protection and discipline are a big deal. For some of you, there's a really strong message that there's someone who has recently entered your life or who is coming into your life who you can actually trust as a protective figure in your life. And there's a reminder about one of the green flags to look for is that when you find someone who is a true King of Pentacles as opposed to a would-be King of Pentacles who's actually out of balance with their masculine energies, a true King of Pentacles is going to show great personal power and great discipline in wielding it. A great sense of personal responsibility and accountability, a great sense of a moral compass, and a strong sense of ethics, almost as if they're living by a code. Now, with the Judgment and High Priestess, is there something else that you're wanting me to bring through, Spirit Guides, about this Queen and King dynamic before we move on to the Judgment and the High Priestess? They're giving me this image of a Queen and King ruling together. And I think that's another assurance of, here are the green flags to look for, and here's how this situation, if this reading is resonating with you, is going to be different than what you've experienced in the past. If you are resonating with the Queen of Cups energy, then whoever is walking into your life is going to rule your lives together with you, as opposed to expecting you to submit to their leadership or rule of your relationship. They're going to seek your input, seek your counsel. They're going to provide wise counsel to you without applying pressure or making there be these consequences for not taking their advice in the way they expected you or wanted you to or pressured you to. There's this sense, again, of what we talked about with the Lovers, of an equal partnership. That also came through with the Judgment, and we're going to get more from the Judgment and High Priestess in a second here. And there's this flow, this give and take, where you feel really nourished by the relationship, as well as like what you have to offer to provide your partner and nourish them is really valued, highly valued, highly, highly valued. That's a message that's coming through with the King of Pentacles. There's a difference between being a trophy and a prize and that type of value, and being really deeply valued as a whole person and an important part of someone's life, and an equal partner in the relationship, where you both take each other's best interests into account, each other's desires and needs into account with any decision you make, knowing that any decision you make affects each other. I feel like that's a really strong message about the choices and commitments in the Lovers card. The give and take, both emotionally and materially, from the Queen and King here. And from the Judgment card, anything that happens on one side of the scale intrinsically, inevitably, irrevocably affects the other side of the scale when you have checks and balances, a balanced scale like that. And that's something that is intuitively taken into account by anyone who is really owning their Queen of Cups or King of Pentacles energy, anyone who is really displaying that self-love that pours into an ability to truly love others, and that self-discipline that stabilizes someone so that they can approach others with a mind to actually take their best interests into account. So let's see what we have from... We're going to go with the High Priestess first, and then with the Judgment. The keywords for the High Priestess are mystery, psychic wisdom, sacred knowledge, subconscious, intuition, dreams, inward facing, divine feminine, and that which is hidden. Okay, right away, actually, before I even read the rest of the guidebook on this, there's a really strong message coming through for a lot of you here, that the conditioning and traumas that you've been through have been obscuring your own sacredness from yourself with that which is hidden, psychic wisdom, sacred knowledge, subconscious. There's the potential for people to come into your life, such as this balanced King of Pentacles figure, who really truly value and prize that which is deeply sacred about you. Do not push them away because of the conditioning that has taught you not to see that sacredness within yourself. And for some of you, whether it's because you're not interested in romance or something else, or actually this message could be true at the very same time as the external relationship message, there is also a message here about the internal relationship between your own internal queen and king here, where you can transmute and alchemize, like the magician, the parts of you that have been at war with each other, overthinking, creating self-doubt, creating lose-lose situations out of worry and fear. When you bring the approach of, I want us to understand each other, to that internal dynamic, and put the swords down and start having these discussions with yourself where you truly bring understanding to yourself and act responsive and attuned to your needs, to your emotions, to your distress when it comes up. You act in a way that is responsive to and caretaking of anything that causes you distress, and that shows yourself that you can trust yourself, that you will heed your emotional and intuitive signals, that you will take your own best interest into account and not ignore your distress. You can alchemize the relationships in yourself, access your personal power, and create this give and take within yourself between your emotions and your ability to create a safe container and a stable, safe, sacred space for your emotions and all the parts of yourself. That environment within yourself is a huge, huge clarification on the message from the Magician in the Mirror. And there is a message with that mirror part that some of you have already been doing that work, and that's actually part of what is. There's no it's very tricky to discuss the law of attraction, the law of mirroring, without making it mean deserving. It's not, oh, you've finally done enough work and now you've earned a loving, stable relationship. You finally deserve it. You're finally good enough. No, you were always good enough. But you treating yourself like you know that you have always been good enough is one of the things that makes it really easy for the universe to mirror that to you, and for your external relationships to mirror that to you. And there's nothing wrong with that mirror going both ways, by the way. There's nothing wrong with drawing on the relationships in your life for the nourishment, the security, the resources that you need to mirror that balanced flow, safe container dynamic within yourself. Okay. I hope I was able to bring through that subset of messages clearly, because that is a really beautiful message. That said, the rest of the High Priestess description in this particular deck says, in stillness, look within. The High Priestess rests between the worlds of the conscious and the unconscious, and her arcane wisdom uncovers that which is hidden. She whispers to you to pay attention to the subtle signs and messages from Spirit. Listen more closely to the soft voice of your intuition. Your inner sense of knowing is always there to guide you. Turn the light of your attention inward. Is there a subtle comfort or discomfort on this current path? At this time, the answers lie within. So the conjunction of the High Priestess with the Two of Swords here, and that message of, is there a subtle comfort or discomfort on this current path? When you are facing choices and you feel like you can't see the path before you, as in the Two of Swords, turn inward and allow the messages that your inner self, your emotions and your intuition are trying to send you to be received. Create space for those messages to unfurl so that you can really see the full extent of them and not just feel the tips of the icebergs poking up out of the water into, the physical or mental symptoms that they're creating. Allow them to unfold and unfurl so that you can really experience and feel and read the messages your emotions and intuition have for you. There's definitely a strong calling in this group, regardless of what you feel or see in your external relationships, to dive into your emotional and psychic and intuitive awareness so that you can transmute any discomfort or distress that arises on a daily basis into the message that those emotions and sensations have for you, by receiving that message, hearing it, and acting accordingly and appropriately in response to truly understanding it. And there's a message that, whether this is a practice, that tuning into your emotions and into your intuition, whether that's a practice that's new to you or something that you've been practicing for a long time, practice is key. Practice is what allows you to cultivate your mastery and become the magician who can transmute anything at the drop of a hat, can hold fire and water in the palm of their hand and remain unfazed. Similar to how you wouldn't expect to simply trust another person the second they walk into your life. That wouldn't be healthy, that wouldn't be wise. Building self-trust is also a process, a lifelong one, really. And that process does actually come along with many gifts along the way. It yields many fruits in addition to the main mission of having a trusting, loving, peaceful, harmonious relationship with yourself, such as maybe psychic abilities have surprised you as you've started to tune into your emotions and your physical sensations more. But those abilities and gifts that may have taken you completely off guard at first could actually become strengths and areas of expertise for you. The messages that surprise you from your inner child and from your emotions could lead you in a direction you never imagined that actually becomes the greatest choice you ever made, that yields physical or emotional abundance or both. And it definitely leads to a life of more love and passion internally and externally. Falling in love with your own life, falling in love with yourself, even if you didn't actually imagine that that was possible when you set out to heal your relationships with yourself and with your life. The Judgment card is the last card we have currently on the spread. And then from there, I believe we'll pull a few other final messages. Keywords for Judgment are reckoning, forgiveness, awakening, revelation, evaluation, self-awareness, rebirth, and inner calling. With that keyword forgiveness, I do suspect that some of you are coming to a place, whether it's right now or in the near future, where this inner work that you're doing of bringing understanding to the parts of you that have maybe self-sabotaged or hurt yourself, or the parts of you that have maybe repressed other parts of you, that is going to yield self-forgiveness. And forgiveness is never something that can be forced. There's no magic button where you can just say, okay, I forgive you now because I say I do. It is the result of bringing that true understanding and that true caretaking, that true process of building and earning trust needs to a natural exhale and release and sense of forgiveness. And that, I am hearing from my spirit guides that for some of you that seems impossible. It feels like you have harmed yourself too much to be worthy of your own forgiveness. And there is a reassurance here of it's okay not to strive for that. Keep putting one foot in front of the other on this healing process that we've been outlining and describing here. Know that the universe, in its infinite unconditional love, does already hold that vibration of forgiveness for you, of knowing your untarnished innocence, even when you feel very far away from it. And rest assured that that space of harmony and forgiveness is available. And don't worry about pushing yourself towards that if it feels far away for you right now. For some of you, it's going to feel far away. For some of you, it's going to feel like your next exhale, very close at hand. But there's a reassurance that it is available, and that on the other side of this at times heavy process, there is the lightness of a feather for your heart and for your soul. There is that rebirth on the other side of heeding the inner calling. It is time for a renewal and a spiritual awakening, the guidebook description says. Let go of all harsh judgments of both yourself and others. There is nothing to be gained from assigning blame, and forgiveness sets you free. This is a call from your own spirit, your higher consciousness, to begin to live your life with more awareness and authenticity. When you receive this card, it may be a sign that you have been feeling a calling toward a new direction, a new chapter, or a new opportunity. Follow both your intuition and your intellect as you now shift into deeper alignment. It is time to forgive yourself and find the path forward. So, letting go of all harsh judgments of both yourself and others. Healing the inner critic comes from bringing understanding to why it's doing what it's doing, and understanding how it has protected you in the past, and finding other ways to protect yourself. Recognizing that there's a cost to the way you have been protecting yourself with these criticisms of yourself and of others. Getting more in reality about what criticisms are valid and which ones are these knee-jerk, harsh judgments that are just trying to protect yourself by lashing out. And by suppressing the parts of yourself that you perceive as having gotten you into trouble before. And really integrating that desire and need to protect yourself so as to go about that perfectly noble mission in a more effective and loving way to both yourself and others. Like we said before, not jumping to harsh conclusions about someone else based on what might be a misinterpretation, but giving things a fighting chance with other people as well as resolving these dynamics in yourself. There is a message here that for some of you, this dynamic is not about a new relationship coming in. For everyone in this group, and frankly in the world, this message is about healing your internal dynamics. But for some of you, there is a new relationship dawning. For some of you, there is a rebirth happening in one or more relationships already existing in your life. And you might feel at a choice point right now where there's been conflict in this relationship and you just don't know whether the relationship is going to survive the conflict. And it is going to be up to you and the other people involved. As we discussed before with using your discernment and finding out whether trust can be built or rebuilt, whether it can be truly earned. Sometimes walking away from the relationship is necessary, but there are a lot of you here where walking away from the conflict does not mean walking away from the relationship. It means leaning into the relationship and building a safe container within the relationship together. And not merely allowing, but actually forging a new relationship to be reborn. You cannot drag someone else into doing that. You cannot make someone else do that. If you truly speak to this person or these people and that willingness is not there, those action steps are not being taken to build and reforge trust, then you know what you need to do. But find out. Give it a chance to happen. If it doesn't happen, you know what you need to do to move forward and move on. But take the step in to invite them to also step in, meet you in the middle, and build a safe container together. Create the space and time to be honest with each other and see how it goes, and you will know how to move forward from there. And for some of you, that is going to lead to a rebirth where your relationship may even feel completely different than how it has been, because you two are being honest with each other and building safety and reliability and meeting each other in a way that you haven't before. I'm feeling complete with the tarot here. My spirit guides are saying those messages are complete, but saying to bring through a few tea leaf messages to wrap up the reading from our tea leaf oracle deck. And there's also a message, a reminder for anyone here who's feeling some deep emotions about these topics to take some deep cleansing breaths and allow the emotions to flow through the energetic body and the physical body without pushing them down or flinching or shying away from them, and without grasping onto them, to allow them to rise up and crest and flow through. So we've got these two tea leaves, and I'm feeling like there is one more. Okay, we're going to pull this one from the top. So we have, okay, ring, a marriage will take place, either romantic or business. That's a little blatant. Pineapple, reconciliation, wow. And pin, new job or career. I just heard the phrase put a pin in it, and there's an interesting imagery parallel here between this pin and these swords. And this pin lying on a cushion. So with put a pin in it as something I heard clairaudiently, for some of you, you are just at this moment, at the moment of lying down your swords, internally or externally, in whatever conflict you have been in, whatever argument, whatever mental conflict you have been in, and turning over a new leaf. Not put a pin in it as in suppress what you really feel, don't tell people what you really think, but put a pin in it as in walk away, get some space, cool off, soothe your nervous system, and approach sharing your honest truths once you've had a chance to soothe your nervous system from a space of, I want to reach understanding, I want to reach reconciliation. We're going to have a safe space to for a meeting of minds and hearts. And if I start to no longer be safe, or if the other person starts to no longer be safe, we're going to put a pin in it and take some space again, and decide from there whether we're going to continue to come back and work on this, or whether that's not possible for us. But for the vast majority of people who are matched to this group, reconciliation is in the cards. There might be a few of you, though, I would not be shocked at all. There's probably going to be a few of you where the reconciliation that's going to happen is reconciliation with yourself, by walking away from a workplace or a romantic or familial relationship that is hurting you, and that is not a safe space where you cannot emotionally flourish and be nourished and nurtured. That doesn't allow you the space to nurture yourself or be honest and be authentically yourself. So for that segment of the group, this is about committing to yourself and to your lifelong loving relationship with yourself. And that's something that absolutely everyone can benefit from committing to and acting in alignment with. But there's a lot of you where meeting someone that could potentially be a lifelong partner in business, but especially personally, or creating the safety and harmony within the relationship that already exists, such that you do actually start to see the potential for a marriage blossoming, and as something that you would truly want with this person, is in the cards. I'm feeling this one as well. Okay, let's see what else we have. With Pig, beware of greed coming out. It feels like kind of this last message, with the King of Pentacles out of balance is a very greedy person who doesn't have that self-discipline or that give and take, who just kind of takes willy-nilly, and has not built their abundance on ethical practices, on a responsible moral compass, and acting in alignment with both other people's best interests and their own. So this is a reminder of what red flags there are to watch out for if you are in a situation where you are looking to kind of collect the data, collect the evidence, and find out, am I reconciling with myself by saving myself from a dangerous situation where someone is approaching me as something to take from greedily? Or is this a situation where this person can actually take care of me and take my best interests into account? Is there fairness and balance in this situation? Is there give and take, or is it out of balance? And by the same token, beware of great pride, Peacock. So this feels like, for those of you who are feeling lost about assessing your current situation in a workplace or in a personal relationship, a reminder of what to look out for. And I'm hearing clairaudiently from my guides, you already know. If you're watching this and you're immediately ticking off the list, like a whole laundry list of the ways in which the people involved in your situation are showing you these red flags, you already know. Whereas if you are watching this and going, they might have displayed some pride in this way, but for the most part, they really don't act arrogant or greedy, but I'm not sure I can really trust them. This is your time to tap into the process we talked about earlier, where you make space to find out, and bring understanding to the situation and attempt to build trust before you give it up as a lost cause. I'm being advised to shuffle the tea leaves a little more and pull out a few more messages before we close. This reading has gone really deep in a whole bunch of different directions, while staying with that theme of alchemization, the magician in the mirror, accessing your personal power by alchemizing. Okay, rat, someone working against you behind your back. So based on what we have in this reading so far, it's really funny for all these negative messages to come out after all of these positive messages, but it just feels like some clarification for some people who maybe need it. For some of you, and then again with the you already know message, for some of you, the rat is someone who is telling you, oh, don't trust this person. It's not okay to depend on other people. What are you doing? Why would you move in with that person when you actually feel really good about the relationship or the workplace or the opportunity that's come your way? Whereas for others of you, this metaphorical rat is the other person in the situation that you are contemplating and worried about. I just saw 111 on the timer. which for me reminds me of like the three ones remind me right now of like arrows slicing very clearly through any confusion. Mice, discord among friends and family also came out. Wow. So for some of you, this is a group situation, a familial situation, not a romantic or workplace situation necessarily. But there is a strong message of like, this is soon to be over. Let's shuffle a little more. And there's a message strongly of you are safe from this discord. Remove yourself from the situation that is stressing you out. Do not tolerate people trying to hook you into staying in an argument or showing up to every battle that you're invited to. This feels weirdly really appropriate for the holidays, doesn't it? And we have one of the Astral House cards here. Career. Okay, yeah, for some of you this is about your current workplace and about a new opportunity for abundance that is more balanced and nurtures you more, gives back to you more than your current job. For some of you, this may also be about family, friends, or partners not supporting your career moves, and about you making a choice about, actually, it fulfills me to move in this career direction, and I'm not going to let this discord be something I submit to anymore. This is not going to rule my decisions. And the people in my life are going to have to accept my authentic choices and support me, or they're no longer going to play such a significant role in my life because I am going to do what's best for me regardless. I'm not going to tolerate that rat pretending to be in my corner anymore. Okay, I'm being told these three. Is it 4 or 3? Okay. Are there? Okay. This is a lot of tea leaves. I love it when that happens. There's often a lot of specificity that comes out of that. Moon, changes in your life. This goes really beautifully with the pomegranate and the moon and the high priestess here. Money path. A path with money is waiting for you to find it. That is very much validation of what we were just speaking of with walking away from a situation full of strife and discord is, in your case, walking towards a path of more fulfillment, where you get to be both fulfilled financially and emotionally, supported both financially and emotionally. And we have lobster, financial pinch. Okay, don't let a financial threat keep you in a dangerous situation, and also take steps to prepare yourself for, if you are going to leave a toxic workplace and move towards a better one, take steps to protect yourself from the temporary financial pinch that may involve, and know that it's okay to sign up for that. That isn't automatically a stupid or not worthwhile decision just because there is a temporary financial pinch. Just make these choices with your eyes open, know what you're committing to, know what you need to do to make this safe and okay for you if this is what you're choosing. And man, dealing with a relationship with a man. So that is just confirmation for some of you out there about like, yep, the guy I've been thinking of, whether it's the boss or the partner or the family member, that is what's going on here. For some of you, this is also confirmation that a new man is coming into your life. But for a lot of you, it's like, yeah, I knew exactly who the problem was in the situation. There's also just a reminder from this message of like, and your own internal masculine and feminine are rising to come into and establish a healthier flow. All right. It's really interesting to get these sort of clarifying, specifying messages and last-minute reminders after such a deep and in-depth and intensive reading. Vine, seek out information that will help you. So remember to tap into your own spiritual and emotional resources for information, and to reach out to the friends and family that you really do trust for guidance. For some of you, this is a professional. Seek out a therapist, seek out a counselor, seek out a mediator who can help you see the situation that you're in clearly. Because for a lot of you, this is a very complex situation that you are kind of tangled in the vines of, lost in the weeds of. And if you are still uncertain after reflecting and journaling and listening to this reading and things like that, it's going to be really helpful to get an objective outside perspective from someone who has no, what's the word? Has no horse in this race, something like that, has no dog in this race, someone who is not affected by the outcome of your decisions. Okay, someone is trying to come between you and a friend or something you want, wedge. So there must be someone or multiple people here who are experiencing resistance to really recognizing who the metaphorical rat is in this situation, because that can happen sometimes. Someone may have been trustworthy to you, or someone you relied on for emotional support or survival in the past, and it may be really difficult to accept that they are coming between you and your best interests at this time. It's okay if that's really difficult for you to accept, but it is time to get in reality about what's happening if that's the case. Kite, a vacation. I'm being called to tell you guys a personal story here. When I broke up with an ex of mine who was emotionally and psychologically abusive, it happened because I took a family vacation without him. And when I came back from that vacation, family vacation for me is, like it is for many people, a mix of joy and relaxation and stress. So it wasn't like I spent the vacation completely blissed out. There was a mix. But when I came back to my home life at that time, living with my ex, the very same day, I immediately felt like a fish. It's interesting, like a goldfish that had been briefly given a respite in clean water and then tossed back into toxic sludge. I was shocked. I couldn't fathom how I'd been living like this. The second I got back into the stress, it was so familiar to me. I recognized that I had been in that stress for months on end, but I hadn't realized how bad it was, how severe it was, because I had been accustomed to it. And I broke up with this person pretty immediately. So this for me is really clarifying why we needed these clarifying, specifying, reinforcing messages to come out as like these gentle, loving warnings from someone, in spirit, from your spirit guides and higher self, who want to kind of lovingly shake your shoulders and go, see the reality of this person who cannot be trusted. I do find it particularly loving as well that, the first half of our message here was like, there are people in your life who can be trusted, and give them a chance and find out. But there is also potentially someone, and for some of you it might be a boss, it might not be personal, who cannot be trusted. For some of you this might also be a message of like, don't be afraid to use your vacation time before you quit this job or after you give your notice. Who cares if it's frowned upon? Get what you have earned from this job. Don't worry about that, like you deserve a vacation. For some of you, it may not be about quitting the job right away, but about the fact that you feel as though someone in this workplace has made it frowned upon to take time off, as if you're like slacking or abandoning them or abandoning your duties. You're not. You are taking care of yourself by taking a vacation. and that's important. For some of you, a vacation may also be when you get the time and space to really hash out some things and create that safe container with your loved ones that you actually want to build trust with. Have the time and space to really unpack things and let them unfold like we were talking about before, and identify what's working for me, what's not. Is this worth it? Chair filled, someone new is entering your life. So we had the new job and career. For some of you, or this is on a personal level, this is a confirmation that there is someone new and trustworthy entering your life. There's actually even some parallels between the colors and the imagery in this card and the King of Pentacles, especially that throne-like chair and the round golden pentacle-like object there, even though I'm pretty sure it's an ornament of some kind. So don't be scared of, well, not don't be scared. Everyone is scared of being alone. That's part of being human. It's tough to leave relationships because sometimes you do already have other people who are ready and willing to fill the gaps in your sense of connectedness to a community or to friendship or to other people, who are ready and willing to pour into your heart when you pull away from someone who started pouring poison into your heart. But sometimes, often, there is a gap there, and that it's natural to feel scared of that, but there's reassurance here of that gap is not the end of the world. It's not you being alone forever. It's you getting the space to connect with yourself, and someone new is going to enter your life after that. Dog far away, a distant friend is thinking of you. This is a reminder for some of you that there's a friend you maybe haven't been in touch with for a minute who would actually love to support you through this. If I'm actually getting this image of someone like yelling at them, like someone yelling at their friend, like how dare you not have told me what was going on with you? I can't believe that you were just suffering in silence. Like, come on. I thought we were closer than this. I thought we were better friends than this. For some of you, it might not be that level of dynamic, but there's still someone that you might not think of as that close of a friend, or you may, but you just haven't been in touch in a while. And this is a calling to reach out to them. They might be the person who can give you that sort of objective guidance because they might not be involved in whatever in-person situation you're in, or they might just be who you need to fill the chair and give you the emotional support you need in your life. And last but not least, candle, you will be shown the way. This is clearly a time of turmoil for a lot of you, a time of confusion, like we saw with the Five of Swords and the Two of Swords, not knowing for sure what the path ahead of you holds. But you will be shown each next step as you tap into the signals from your own heart, your own emotions, and from spirit. You will be shown the way. You may feel lost, but you are not lost. You are finding yourself. And thank you from your spirit guides, from your higher self, and from me, from the bottom of my heart, for taking the time, the space, the energy, the effort, giving yourself the presence to show up for yourself so that you can be shown the way, so that you can let go of that which is holding you back from becoming the best version of yourself. The world needs the best version of yourself right now. And I say that not to put pressure on you, but to remind you that you have immense worth and value to the world. And you prioritizing your happiness is actually what the world needs. So thank you. Take good care of yourself, and I hope you have an excellent rest of your week.